haka. Best known from any All Blacks rugby match. The haka is a ceremonial Maori war dance, a challenge performed to intimidate the enemy as you get yourself into a frenzy before battle. But what's often forgotten is that it was originally used as a sign of joy and respect and welcome. It's got its beginnings in the story of a Maori chief who was fleeing from his enemies, and he got help from another Maori chief who was known as the Hairy Man, or Tangata Purpurahuru, who hid him in a pit guarded by his wife. The plan worked and he survived. As he emerged from the pit, the Maori chief performed the haka as an offering of respect for his saviour, the Hairy Man. The words of the haka, which you've just heard, after the initial screaming verbals, which get everyone psyched up, they go something like this: Kamati kamati kora kora, will I die or will I live? And then, this is the Hairy Man who brought the sun and caused it to shine. One step upwards, and then another step upwards. One step upwards, another step upwards, until finally, with arms outstretched, Whiti Tera, the sun shines. So basically, it's a story of an old git getting out of a pit. Despite what the All Blacks do with it, the haka is also used as a celebration and, importantly, to welcome distinguished guests. So, Whiti Tera, the sun shines on this wonderful day. I bid you all welcome. I'm so glad to see so many people here in this fabulous location as Jacqueline and Ryan celebrate their big day. Although most of us have travelled a long way to be here, some people have travelled a really long way, and can I make mention of some of them just now? The bronze medal goes jointly to Ryan's brothers Liam and Sean, who with M clocked up to 3,273 miles from New York, and Lucas and Lindsay, who had a 3,353 mile trip from Buffalo. The silver goes to my brother Billy, who has travelled 4,087 miles from Calgary in Canada. And finally, the gold medal, 6,007 miles from Hong Kong to be here today, my elder son Stuart. To all of you, welcome. And also can I pay tribute to the marvellous job that a lot of people, and especially Jacqueline, have done in making this wonderful event happen in these fabulous surroundings. Moving on, Taringa Wakarongo. That too is from the haka, and it means listen to me again. Now, if you're a bit slow and you haven't worked it out, my family is part Kiwi. My father, Jacqueline's grandfather, was born in New Zealand, and I've always felt strong roots there. I've always supported the All Blacks, and with Stuart, we were at Murrayfield a few years ago watching the All Blacks beat Scotland. Our family home, risky but true, the family home, it was named Tiaroa, after the town outside Auckland where my father was born. And we had two Kiwis, the national bird of New Zealand, engraved onto the front gate of our family home in Greenock. And a couple of days ago, Billy and myself went down to our old home. There's been no Gillans there for 25 years, 26 years, and the Kiwis were still on the front gate. It was nice to see. Now, there's an old Maori wedding tradition that goes along these lines. I'm sure you know that the traditional Maori greeting is rubbing noses. It's called the honge. At a New Zealand wedding, if the guests rattle their glasses with a spoon, the noise of spoons and glasses will build up to a crescendo, and the only way that it can be stopped is if the newly married couple perform the honge passionately. Is if the newly married couple rub noses and then passionately. Oh, we did that, didn't we? Now, the other side of my family are Scottish. They're McDonald's. Now, I was expecting a wee bit of reaction there. Because you may be aware that Clan MacDonald and Clan MacLeod were mortal enemies. Particularly on the Isle of Skye, with the MacDonalds based in Armadale at Sleat at the south end of the island, and the MacLeods based in Dunvegan Castle in the north. Now, horror of horrors, my only daughter of solid MacDonald heritage, who I love dearly and only want the best for, has just married a MacLeod.
She's sort of like.
Is he worthy? Is he worthy? Can he prove himself? There will be no MacDonald-MacLeod fight today, although I've got to mention that in the final battle between the MacLeods and the MacDonalds in 1601, it was the MacDonalds that won. I've got to know Ryan over the past few years, and I'm delighted to give him my blessing as he and Ryan begin married life together. I prefer to regard Ryan as Tangata Pahurahuru, the big hairy man. And although there'll be no doubt, there'll no doubt be some relief that I will not be performing the haka in front of you, Ryan. Certainly from my siblings, my offering, I'm not going to perform the haka in front of you. I want to offer you this as a Scottish welcome.
Wait.
Drink it for Ryan. Whiskey's Talisker, a favourite of mine from Carbost in the heart of MacLeod country. Welcome to our family, Ryan. You do your parents proud, and I'm so very happy to be welcoming and celebrating this day with Andy and Jackie and Ryan's brothers Sean and Liam. Welcome to us. I've visited Skye, MacLeod country, many times, either on holiday or climbing on the Coolin Ridge. On one visit back in 2006, I took Jacqueline and Andrew onto the ridge to climb Skye's highest peak, Sgurr Alister. She's laughing already. The three of us walked up into Corrylagan, donned our helmets and tackled the ski ascent of the Great Stone Chute. The ascent was steep, but without drama, and we took a break before the final scramble up the narrow arête to the summit. Now, Jacqueline's never been a great fan of heights, although I had every confidence that the final climb was well within our capabilities. I led the way, Andrew being the youngest, followed, and Jacqueline brought up the rear. It's only a short climb, and in less than 15 minutes, Andrew and I stood on the narrow summit of Sgurr Alister. But where was Jacqueline? We waited for 5 minutes, still no sign. The two of us descended and we came across her frozen on the narrow ridge. And I initially felt a bit guilty at having left her behind. But these guilt feelings were brief, as the reason for a lack of progress up the arête became all too apparent. It wasn't her fear of heights that was the problem. In front of her, on the ridge, was a spider. Spider wasn't even wearing MacLeod tartan. No, that day, Jacqueline's fear of heights was totally eclipsed by her horrendous fear of spiders. She never made it past that spider in Sgurr Alister, and since then spiders seem to have featured a lot in her life. She makes so much noise if a spider, or a Boris as we call them, appears anywhere close to her. At home when Jacqueline was in her teens, Mary and I would eventually go to bed if Jacqueline was on a really late night out. Mary would lie and wait until she heard Jacqueline's key open the front door. Me? I was a bad parent, I'd be fast asleep. In the morning, however, when I went down to the kitchen, I knew that Jacqueline was home safe and sound, when I would find an upturned tumbler on the floor with a spider inside it. And it's got to be said that alcohol does make her a wee bit braver in dealing with her spiders. Now, Jacqueline, as you all know, has got a sizable adventurous streak in her. Whatever reckless and have-a-go genes she inherited from Mary and me have certainly continued to evolve. When she's tackled any form of outdoor activity, like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro in Tanzania, or an exciting holiday excursion like going solo to Sri Lanka to chase elephants, she certainly lives up to my mantra of, it'll be fine. I know that with Ryan, she will enjoy many more adventures. I don't think, however, that Ryan will be the person to accompany her to the top of Sgurr Alistair, even if it's the highest part of the historical domain of the MacLeods. Witnessing Ryan getting in and out of our hot tub with the grace of an elephant in roller skates, or giving a good impression of Bambi and ice on unstable ground, I trust that their joint adventures in the camper van as a newly wedded couple will be carried out near sea level. The emotional bit. Hankies, please. Jacqueline and Stuart and Andrew, your mum and I are so proud of all that the three of you have done in your lives, in your careers, your sport, and also in your at times crazy recreational pursuits. But more important than that, we're proud of just what decent people the three of you have turned out to be. Today, however, is your day, Jacqueline. You're beautiful, a beautiful bride, both inside and out. And the only time that I've been prouder than walking you down the aisle today was when your mum brought you into the world.
No.
Behave. To those of you of a certain vintage, and I suppose I'm referring to Mike and Barry. Hey. That's a nice thing, isn't it? That's nice. The inspiration for Jacqueline's name, with its unique spelling, was from one of the original Charlie's Angels, Jacqueline Smith. Do we remember her?
Yep. Kelly Garrett.
Like you, Jacqueline, she was quite some lady. However, you'll always be my angel. And thank you for being such a massive part of my life. Thank you. Before I finish and ask you all to toast the newly married couple, I want to read a short poem to Jacqueline and Ryan. May the best you've ever seen be the worst you'll ever see. May a moose ne'er leave your girnel with a teardrop in his eye. May your eye keep hale and hearty till you're old enough to die. May your eye be just as happy as I wish your eye to be. All of you out there, get off your arses, grab your bevy, and get ready to have a wee swally. To my favourite daughter and our new husband, to Jacqueline and Ryan. That's me.
Moving on from one man that likes to marry an older woman to another.
Can you say that again? Because you didn't hear it.
Ryan, it's over to you, buddy.
Thanks, Stuart and Andrew, for the introduction, and thanks, Alan, for that speech. People have been asking me if I was nervous. I wasn't really until you started speaking, and somebody said, follow that. I'm not really sure how I will, but I will do my best. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of my wife and I, I'm truly delighted to welcome you to Queer Today. Now, for those of you who don't know, I am very quiet, I'm very unassuming, and I often don't have much to say about anything at all. And therefore, you may be wondering, how on earth will Ryan deliver a speech today? And for those of you who do know, I hope you've picked wisely in the speech sweepstakes. Like I said, people keep asking me if I was prepared or indeed worried about speaking today. But the truth is, I actually have a very, very easy job, because I get to stand up here and thank the people that are closest to Jacqueline and I. Firstly, we would like to thank everyone for making the journey to Queer Today. Absolutely delighted to spend it with our family and our closest friends, and yeah, the venue itself I think is spectacular, but the reason it really looks so good today is because of Jacqueline. All the work she's done, all the table decorations. Just a wee quick round of applause before I forget. Further special mentions and thank yous. Thank you to our photographer Janina, who has stepped in at the 11th hour, and she's really made us feel most comfortable. Particularly me, who's, let's say, that was definitely my first photo shoot. We thank our friend Diane for her reading today, and also my gran for her poem today. We didn't actually know that when we booked today, it would have been the 66th wedding anniversary of my gran and Ali. I think we knew it would be good, but blew it out of the water for us. I think, I'd like to reiterate the words that Alan said about thanking people who have made the journey here today. I'll reiterate the special thank yous to Billy, who, like Alan said, has travelled from Canada, to my brother Sean, my brother Liam and his partner Em, who have travelled from New York, from New York, and to Jacqueline's brother Stuart, who's made it from Hong Kong, and as well as our friends Lucas and Lindsay from Buffalo. For people to make this journey, it just blows our minds, so thank you very, very much. I think it goes without saying, as grateful we are for everyone being here, we're very saddened by people who can't be here with us today. So this brings me to my first toast. If I could ask you to be upstanding and raise your glasses to absent friends. Alan, I've already briefly thanked you for your words today. However, my thanks go far beyond today. I was exceptionally proud when you gave me your blessing to ask for Jacqueline's hand in marriage. Although, in reflection, I've been very disconcerted by how quickly he agreed. He actually cut me off before I finished speaking, as if he knew something I don't. But in all seriousness, I remember you said you knew I would look after her, and I reiterate my promise to you that that's what I intend to do. Mary, you look absolutely fabulous today. Which is nothing less than you deserve for being the second most important person. Yeah. Now, she's really worried that I'm going to stand up here and embarrass her. But I won't today. I want you to know, though, that you spoil me far more than I deserve, and you feed me even more than I require. Sincerely, though, Alan and Mary, you've made me feel most welcome since day one. And before I met Jacqueline, I never really kind of considered what it would be like to gain that type of dynamic. But to have such excellent in-laws really means the world to me. Jacqueline wanted me to say a few words on her behalf, specifically about you two. And, her thanks go back much further than mine. Alan, I know just how much she enjoys a day out in the hills with you. To her, you are what she describes as that life constant. That person always encouraged her to do what she might be hesitant to do. She tells me that she would often say, "Dad, can I do this?" Which was not to seek permission or approval. To which you would state, "Of course you can, but don't tell your mother." Mary, I know that you're Jacqueline's #1 confidant and a go-to for advice. Jacqueline truly values the time that she gets to spend with you and the motherly wisdom that you provide her.
Don't you make me cry anymore.
I can speak all day. It's alright, dinner's coming in. There is no doubt that you have helped shape the excellent, strong, independent woman who I love so much, so thank you very much. Alan and Mary, your support in our endeavours is invaluable. Whether it be assisting us with tasks around the house, waiting in on deliveries, or being the best taxi service in all of Bearsden. And on the topic of hot tubs, I want you to know the fact that you have a hot tub in no way swayed my decision to wish to take one. There are many things to thank you about. For today, though, I would like to add that as much as Jacqueline did here, I don't think she could have done it without the help of Mary, who's made all the favours that you see in front of you on the tables. Thank you to both of you for helping us organise and achieve the day that we worked for. To my mum and dad, what a privilege it is to stand up here. And give you the credit you deserve for being such fantastic parents. You may have not always made it easy on me, like the time I was made to come home from a night out to tidy my bedroom. That's a true story because Elaine was there. But you have actually always tried your best to make sure I achieve my ambitions. Whether this be supporting my studies or taking me to sports halls across the country, and really just knowing there's that endless support there. This is not true, of course, just for what you've done for me, but also for my brothers. When you get older, as I've got older, you realise that there's no playbook to being a parent. And therefore, I guess the real credit is producing your best work the first time around. On another serious note, though, you have made Jacqueline feel part of the family, and for that I am most grateful. And again, I think Jacqueline talked about me being a weirdo earlier on, but as another example of her being weird, she seems to really relish the MacLeod family gatherings. There is a lot more that I feel that we should say, and Jacqueline feels that we should say together, although in truth, words wouldn't do it justice. So, from Jacqueline and I, thank you for your help with today. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my second toast tonight. I'd like you to be upstanding and raise glasses to parents.
John? Thank you.
Bridesmaids.
Finally.
Finally, yeah. Laura Gillan, Gillian Allen, and then of course there's Jacqueline Gilliland. What Thomas and I affectionately call the Bearsden bitches. I mean, the Bearsden babes. The Bearsden babes. I am not sure how teachers would have coped with you three beyond saying the register. Laura and Gillian, it goes without saying you look absolutely fantastic today. And dare I say it, better than the Helicon days of the shed, or indeed that Powerpuff Girls photo. It is clear your friendship goes back many years now, and you're truly Jacqueline's oldest and closest friends. From school together, to Unders nightclubs, to the shed, to Croatia, to Ibiza, to one another's weddings, you've done and shared it all. Now, the less I know about the hen parties, the better, but I do know Jacqueline is truly grateful for the effort you went to in organising. Thank you for being the best friends to Jacqueline, not least of all today. So more drinking, which the bridesmaids will definitely approve of, if you could raise your glasses to bridesmaids. To Stuart and Andrew, thank you for agreeing and doing such excellent jobs as MCs today. From Jacqueline's point of view, you've both been around a very long time. Thank you for being Thank you for being excellent brothers to Jacqueline. She cares for you and is more proud of you than you perhaps realise. This is of course except when you go biking and on those times that you've tried to make her kiss an actual frog. From my point of view, I'm very fortunate to have gained two top men as brothers, as brother-in-laws today, and it's really reassuring for me to know that you have your sister's best interests at heart. So thank you very much for today. Now my ushers, it was very easy for me to pick ushers today. Thank you to Liam and Sean, who are my younger brothers, they're sat here. Whilst I remember the glory years before your arrival, I do remember being excited to meet you both, and believe it or not, I do remember both days vividly. Whilst at times that excitement may have seemed a big error of my youthful judgment, I couldn't really have asked for better brothers. Both of you, or I want both of you to know you have the ability to do whatever you put your minds to. So I think today seems a reasonable day for me to say that I'm very proud of you both. Now, Thomas, you've been around comparatively less of a time, but this is actually still now a long time. I see the friendship sowed at Elfmas 2007. That has thankfully somewhat matured. You are one of the best guys I know, hard-working, and always up for a day at the pub or a dream chaser coupon. Thank you very much for all your help today and just being an all-round good guy. Now, to my new bride. This may actually sound strange, but this is the bit that I find the hardest to write. I had several attempts to put down something eloquent. Practiced that last night and actually said elephant. But I eventually concluded that the difficulty is because for once I do actually have no words. So bear with me while I stutter through and try my best. Today, when you walked in, I was happier and prouder than I've ever been. The truth is though, whilst I might not show this enough, you've made me feel this way since day one, or since the first time I met you. I love everything about you. I love your Jacquelinisms. Like the time we went to holiday in Portugal and Jacqueline was amazed that there was an awful lot of Polish registration plates. I'll let that sink in for a minute. Now, I've been told it's not my job to stand up here and embarrass you today, and that's her words. But please know you are the only person I would go to Warrington for twice in 1 week. A good friend of mine, he can have a second mention, Barry, he told me, Ryan, when you know, you know. And I knew instantly when I met Jacqueline, heard her laugh, thought, I've got to find a way to do this again. So you can really imagine my dismay when I'm on a night out with Jack Nelson. And all I can say is Jack Nelson was swiftly discharged to a taxi, which, for those of you who know him, would agree that it was for the benefit of everybody. And I'm sure then, if you don't agree with that, you will agree that it's miraculous that Jacqueline actually agreed to go on a date with me. But from that first date, I was hooked, and I knew. And I've even been lucky enough to get 2 first dates with Jacqueline. Just in case. Jacqueline, you are without doubt the hardest working, most driven, and yet most caring person I've ever been blessed to meet. I am in awe of how you juggle all your commitments and still find the time to never forget an important date and always put others before yourself. And I think that is an incredibly endearing trait in a person. In the last couple of years, you've managed to juggle being an exceptional dentist in exceptionally trying circumstances. You've had your hip replaced. You've moved house. You've moved job. And you organised this wedding. And you had to deal with me throughout all of this. I am genuinely inspired by what Jacqueline does. And I want you to know I could not respect you anymore. It is important, I guess, to not wish time away. But I am excited for what future adventures I get to go on with you. Damn it! I'm alright with my best friend. I promise to uphold the promises I made earlier today, and I'm so proud you're my wife. Now, in the event what I have said so far is insufficient, here are some words that I have adapted from those who are much more gifted with the English language than me. I have titled this section, What is Love? This is not the greatest and best speech in the world. This is tribute. A long time ago, me and my brother Tom here, we were drinking on a hot summer's night. Where suddenly there shined a shiny lady in the middle of Brell. And she said, she came from Bearsden and she had a thirst for tea. She studied dentistry at Glasgow University. But that's not where I caught her eye. She told me that her dad was loaded. I said, in that case, I'll have a Moretti. She said, fine. And then in 30 seconds time, she said, I want to drink with common people. I want to drink with common people like you. I said, I'll see what I can do. I took her to the Stand Comedy Club. I don't know why, but I had to start somewhere. So I started there. I said, have you got any money? She just laughed at me and said, you're so funny. I said, yeah. I said, are you sure you want to drink with common people? You want to drink with common people like me? But she didn't understand. She just smiled as I took her hand and led her to Oranmore. When the music died, I saw something in her eyes. That she's electric. She's in a family full of eccentrics. She's done things I never expected, and I need more time. She's got 2 brothers. We do get along with one another. And I quite fancy her mother. And I think she likes me. So the thing is, Jacqueline, I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time. Because when you're standing oh so near, I kind of lose my mind. It's not the perfume that you wear. It's not the way you wear your hair. I don't mind you coming here and wasting all my time. I don't mind you hanging out and talking in your sleep. I guess you're just what I needed. And so, today my world it smiles. Your hand in mine, we walk the miles. Thanks to you, it will be done. For you to me are the only one. Ladies and gentlemen, can you please raise your glasses to the best person I know, Jacqueline. I'm going to introduce you to my best man, Ewan. We have known one another since primary school, and whilst it may not appear so, I want to assure everyone that Ewan is in fact a year younger. And as such, it might be assumed that Ewan would always want to be following in my footsteps. Certainly it started this way, with him taking over the mantle of my Toon Primary School Boys Championship. He then followed me to Mar College, even having the audacity to call in on his handsome older friend. The only real truth in this though is this is when our friendship really started. From comparing scouting notes and Championship Manager, to listening to you sing the Clearasil song, to sleepovers avoiding the mole hunters, to rushing home from school to go to the Welbeck, and then as we grew up to go to Barassi, to completing the absolute Troon dream, which is going to Pebbles Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night, to managers' days, to golf holidays, to housewarmings, weddings and stags. We shared all of these, and for that I'm really thankful, and made this such an easy decision for me to ask you to be my best man today. There was no one I would have rather had stood up next to me today. So, with that, my friends, let me make way for my friend, who tonight is making a comedy debut. I guess we could call the final test of our friendship. Now, a copy of Ewan's comedy routine was left on a table last night, and I have to confess, my friends, I looked at it. It would, of course, be unfair and even a little bit unkind of me to put my best friend on the spot before he gets up here, or to throw him off his game by setting unreasonably high expectations. But I do need to warn you, ladies and gentlemen, you are all about to witness the funniest performance in the history of Best Man speeches. Don't add to the mounting pressure you must already be feeling. Just prepare yourself for non-stop hilarity, the funniest 10 minutes of your life, or any other life. I think that he knows that anything short of this would mar the evening, insult my new wife and I, and undoubtedly, as it's on camera, cause him a lifetime of embarrassment. You're the round, the stage is all yours.
Well done, right? Yeah, that was good. That felt a bit religious to me, so I'll just get rid of that. Alan, Ryan, great speeches. I am now regretting writing this in the ferry over here. I'm probably not as prepared as I should be, but For anyone who doesn't know me, my name is Ewan. I moved to Troon 11 years ago, meaning that I've been Ryan's long-suffering friend for 22 years. I was going to say that's felt a little bit like a life sentence, but many parts of the world, you get out, you're free after 22 years, and here I am still standing. I don't have a huge amount to do today. This is probably the biggest thing, Ryan, as you're saying. And I was kind of trying to give Ryan one bit of advice on what that would probably be. And I was trying to build the courage up to get round to having that conversation with you, Ryan, because it's quite close to the bone. But thankfully, the most stubborn man I know saw some sense. And he phoned me one night and he said, Ewan, I'm not going to wear that yellow kilt. Now, you cheer to that, right? This guy's been to 50 weddings, many of yours in here. Yep. I think it's quite telling. Doesn't want to spoil his own wedding photos. Happy to ruin all of yours. Before I really get started, I would like to just say, how fantastic that ceremony was, and extend a huge congratulations to all you guys for getting here today. If I see another passing sign in my life, I'm just going to walk into that ocean and not stop. But it's never easy when Google tells you to get here, you're going to need to do 2 ferries, a visa, and a helicopter. So well done to everyone, glad to see you all safe. When writing a best man speech, I think probably a good place to start is really, how you know the group. And that was almost the biggest struggle I had, Ryan, and you've actually put that far better than I could. Because growing up, there's no real romantic tale here. I really struggled to have that moment where we first met. And truth be told, we're very, very different. I spent loads of time on a golf course. Ryan was always tennis and volleyball growing up. I went to Strathclyde Uni, Ryan was Glasgow University. I stayed in Ayrshire, while Ryan was always up in the city, dotting around lots of flats. And really, renting lots of flats. But most importantly, and I suppose the premise of this tale today, I like the simple life. And this guy here just overcomplicates and makes every scenario as hard as possible. And really, that hit home to me because he's got quite a big reputation in my family household, my mum and dad. And it really hit home when I was telling my mum about Jack and Ryan booking this venue. My mum is a school teacher, far too overeager about everything. And I was saying, Mum, Ryan and Jack have booked their venue. She said, where's that? I said, it's Korea. And without a hesitation, she turns around and says, oh, that's lovely. Is it north or south? Seoul or Pyongyang? And I thought to myself, only Ryan could she feasibly think that we'd be walking down the aisle saluting to Kim Jong-un as we go. But that's the reputation you have. That was an intellectual geography question. I can tell my audience. Yeah, that was for you, Alan, to be honest. So the one great thing about Ryan is that I could probably have picked a random female hat and written this best man speech. He's a pretty easy target, to be honest with you. But given that today has all gone to plan, I've decided to keep it close to home, and I'm going to tell you all a few stories about weddings, actually. But before I get on to that, I think it is worth mentioning, Ryan has had 34 very successful years on this earth. He's managed to, a massive amount of achievements on his resume. It's probably worthwhile going through a few of those. So Ryan, you are the only man that I have ever known that's taken Ayr United from Division 2 to winning the Champions League on Championship Manager. Andy, that's the type of, obviously, managerial acumen that runs in the blood.
Didn't run that far.
Ryan, you're the only man I've known that's drank a pina colada in the Toby jug. He's also the only man I've known that's been rejected from going into the Toby jug. Now, for anyone who doesn't know what the Toby jug is, it's a pub in Glasgow that sells 98p bottles of beer. Ryan, you're also the only man that I've ever known that's jumped into a family swimming pool with dissolving swim trunks on.
Not knowingly.
That was good fun. And you're the only guy I know that in Pebbles has ever asked the DJ to turn the music down. And your final achievement and record, and I can't quite believe I'm saying this, because as we know, Ryan is a big tennis player. And actually, Ryan does hold an achievement alongside Novak Djokovic. Over the past couple of years, they're the only people that have flown to Australia and spent more time on a plane than they actually have in a And that's really the first of my stories. So there's going to be 4 tales here about Ryan trying to get to weddings. And the first one was, we were a 4 back in the day. And, you know, in my opinion, 2 of our friends emigrated over to Australia. We spoke to them this morning. Quite a drastic measure to get away from this guy's chat, if you ask me, but that's what they did. We got invited to one of their weddings in March 2020, just as COVID struck. Me being sensible, I decided to take a slightly different route to the wedding, and I spent some time in Dubai. Ryan flew straight over to Australia. He was pretty much the last man in. He flew straight up to the Gold Coast, and I'm not kidding you guys, he spent more time researching what Stinger suit he should buy than he actually did on the Gold Coast. Only Ryan. Reading rules can also be a struggle for you, Ryan, as we've seen, as we tried to get a wedding over in Italy. Ryan flew EasyJet, and he went up, he got to the desk really early, and thought, I'll wait for everyone to get on. Goes up there with his bags, only to be told, sorry sir, you're only allowed 1 bag. He has to try and make 2 bags into 1, so all of his kilt, wedding attire comes off, kilt round the waist, jacket's on, shoes are tied onto his belt. When he looks up flustered, gate's closed. Has to run down, trying to catch the plane. At this point, tartans hanging out all over him, looking like the love child of Nicola Sturgeon and Jack Whitehall. And he doesn't have much luck closer to home either. One of my favourite pastimes these days is phoning Ryan on a Tuesday, basically saying, you know, how did your weekend go, Ryan? You know, I know I'll always get a laugh. Ryan and Jack went down to London this year for a wedding. And they decided to spend a couple of extra days down there doing some sightseeing, as most folk would do. Big Ben, Buckingham Palace, all that good stuff. On the Friday evening, they thought, let's go out for a lovely romantic meal. Ryan being the cheapskate, street food was the food of choice. Ryan goes up, orders the food, waits 40 minutes to arrive, so he's already getting angry, as I'm sure we've all seen, or a hangry Ryan is the worst type of Ryan you can see. And then, just as he's taking his first mouthful, the unthinkable happens. Flying through the air. 250 people eating, by the way. You know, it could have landed in anybody else's plate, but of course it had to be Ryan's. Like a homing missile. Boom. Korean chicken with a lovely cock ring on top. Only Ryan. The next day at the wedding also didn't really go that much better. Ryan had told me about how he was staying just round the corner from the church, everything was good. I gave him the usual question, how did it go, Ryan? He said, oh, not great, missed half the ceremony, Ewan. I was like, how could you possibly do that? You were just going to get an Uber round the corner. To which he replied, who knew there was more than one St Paul's in London? Only Ryan. But my favourite story, and I think there were quite a few individuals involved in this one, Alan and Esther's wedding at Lochside many years ago. Back in his homeland, fantastic night, Ryan stumbles back to his room. He works at the door to give him a wee bit of credit, goes in, takes off his kilt, has a shower, dries himself off, back into his boxers, and he crawls into bed. And just when he's doing this, he realises there is another male in the double bed. That sounds, you know, not great to start. And he's about to run out, and I think it was Elaine maybe he was about to try and find to get a little bit of help. And at that point, said male wakes up. This was the only person staying at the hotel that wasn't actually at the wedding. Okay, this is just a random guy. To which the guy says, who are you? All Ryan could muster up was, who are you? Only Ryan. But as much as it is easy to laugh about Ryan's tales of woe, a successful journey that Ryan has been on has been that journey with Jacqueline. I'm sure everyone will agree with me today when I say, Jack, you look absolutely stunning, and you've put a huge amount of work into this today. And these journeys will continue with the purchase of the camper van that's sitting outside, Jack. And you know, it probably won't be a surprise to people in here to hear that the purchase didn't exactly go to plan, as has already been alluded to. But Jack, it's actually that story that's made me realise how good a husband Ryan is going to be to you. Because Jacqueline, not once, when you drove down there 4 hours on that Friday to pick up the van, even when you forgot your PIN number twice, when it came to that important point of buying it, and you had to drive all the way back up the road without the van, Ryan then goes back down the next Friday on the train himself, and he sits in a car park for 6 hours, Jack, when you're playing with people's teeth and you're too busy to send the money to buy the van. Not once did he complain to me, just showing me how much love he really has for you. And I'll be completely honest with you, it is this chaotic story that made me realise how much of a perfect match you are for each other. So congratulations, guys, today. But Jack, before I finish on you, I just have one small gift for you, okay? Hope you enjoyed it. Silence. That is the last 10 seconds of silence that you are going to enjoy for the rest of your life, because you just married Ryan McLeod. Ryan, you know, buddy, thank you so much for letting me be a small part of today. It was a real honour, obviously. There will always be a bed for you. Not my bed, but a bed for you at my house on a Thursday night when you get bored of mum and dad here. There will always be whiskey in the cupboard waiting for you as well. You've been an absolutely great friend to me, and really, it's so hard to write these things, but all I can say is please never change. We're so, you know, when I say we, my friendship group are so grateful that you've brought Jack into our life. Tom, I know you played a big part in that as well, setting it all up. So thanks very much, Ryan. So I hope you have a fantastic trip to Thailand, leaving on Tuesday morning. I'm sure there'll be the odd story that comes out of that as well. And all that really remains for me to do, guys, is for me to wish you both a long and happy life together with all the luck in the world. So, ladies and gentlemen, if we can be upstanding for the bride and groom.